Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good day to everyone. So I do hope that everyone stays safe wherever you are, at home with your family. Take care of yourself, and then make sure you are comfortable. Try focus when you open this lecture. Okay, and everyone is dealing with own difficulties during this time, but I'm sure we are here trying to provide you the best what we call that way on how to get to you. I mean, to deliver the lecture, even though we have to do it online and all. But I do hope that this lecture is clear. You can totally understand it and follow it. I've tried to do it one by one so that you can go through it one by one and really clear about this topic. Okay, so if you have any question at all, so I'm gonna open the session. You can easily WhatsApp me through the number that obviously is on the screen. So you can WhatsApp me asking question anytime that you want. Anything that you are not clear, you just snap the slide and then just post it to me and ask me to explain it further to you. Okay, so we can do that. All right, so shouldn't be any problems. So anything that I can assist, I will assist. And then if you have any problem, you can just contact me directly. Okay, so now shall we start? Okay, so I am Rukaya binti Ismail. I'm from Structure and Material Division. So what we're going to do today is actually for subject CAW 591, whereby we're going to focus more on how to write a literature review. Okay, so we're going to go next slide. So what we have normally in the thesis element, so I think you have to also aware that thesis component is actually very there are so many ways. Okay, so it might be different from one supervisor to another supervisor. So because of sometimes the scope is different, the nature of the research is different, the methodology is different, and the way you carry out the research also different. So what I'm gonna deliver today throughout this lecture is I try to be as general as possible, but of course most of my what we call that sample, example, and so on will of course related to what research that I'm doing. Okay, so I hope that you can try to relate it with your research, your topic, and you might want to have further discussion with your own supervisor on this, on the specific method. Okay, all right. So in general, what we have in one thesis is normally chapter 1, where you have introduction, research problems, objective and scope of research, and significance of research. So I do believe that most of this element has been covered. Yeah, hopefully it has been covered through previous lecture before the MCO started, I suppose. Okay, then today we're gonna focus more on chapter 2, literature review, which you're gonna have later on. Chapter 3, methodology. Chapter 4 is analysis, and chapter 5 will be conclusion. Okay, so what we're gonna do is mainly literature review. Okay, so for literature review research, for presentation, or for today's lecture, for literature review lecture, so we're gonna focus more on 6 main elements. All right, 6 main elements, which is we have introduction. Okay, then we have purpose of literature review, the process of literature review, the organization of literature review tools, and what you call that the tools is named Mendeley, and also lastly will be citation and references. Okay, so first let us go through the introduction. So what is basically literature review? Okay, literature review is basically where you have 2 main components. Okay, one component will be critical exploration. So when you do critical exploration is where you when you read something from academic paper, you will kind of like asking, why this happened, when, how, where. The the 4W with 1H is very important when you're reading one article. Okay, when you're reading one article, that's where you do some critical exploration. You question back, the arguments being said and so on. And second will be where you do analytical account whereby every argument that you have read, you have to find out what will be the justification for it. The justification must be in terms of analytical, comparison, numbers, percentage, increment, decrease, increase, how much percent and things like that. Okay. And of course, critical exploration, analytical account is whereby you will do it among the existing research on particular topic that you want to do or you want to write related to your research work. Okay, so for your research work, you have a certain topic that you want to review, you want to justify, your objective you want to achieve. So you have to have a background study, a literature review about a certain topic. So this is where you're going to do the critical exploration and also analytical account. So, among academic papers or research work that related to your topic. Okay, and this is very important, very crucial, is whereby you have to ensure that, right? You have to ensure what we call that, it is relevant. Okay, it has to be relevant to your topic, because one person can argue so much for one topic. So the main question will be, is it relevant to your thesis topic? Okay, you want to, when you're talking about your thesis topic, you're talking about A, all right, your finding, okay, your finding must also related to A. You cannot read something that related to B. Okay, for example, you have two cases, case A and case B, for example, two issues. So you cannot read about case B, but you want to write about case A. Get what I mean? So it has to be relevant. All right. So here I have, those who are not clear what is critical about. So it's more to like, what is your judgment to it? The question, like what I explained before. Okay, so that's more or less about introduction. Okay, introduction on what is literature review. So next we'll go for purpose of literature review. Why you want to conduct a literature review? So in general, we have few main point that I want to elaborate here. First will be, you do literature review is to get or to find theory and knowledge. Okay, so you want to know what is the background information about the topic, how many people have studied the topic, what will be the updated input about the topic or about the knowledge about the topic. Okay, so you want to know that. Second will be identify issues and problems. So yeah, you might have already highlight your research problem and so on, but that is what you think, that is what we say normally is the first draft. Okay, based on what you know. So you want to be very precise, in terms of reading other people's work and see what are their issues and problems that probably similar with what you have or what you assume you're gonna have, or it might also be different. Okay, so if it is different, so you must know why it is different. It might be different method, different scenario, different situation, different material, so many what we call that factors or parameters that gonna influence what will be the issues and problem from one researcher or one academic paper to another academic paper. So you want to highlight the importance of a topic, which is normally when you do one thing that you want to find, beside of identify issues and problems, you also want to make sure that things that you do is actually important. Your work, your research work is important research work. All right, that's why you want to carry out the research work, and you also want to prove to other panel or to other people that who will read your work, that your research work is unsolved issue, is a crucial problem that you have, that trigger you to do the research work. Okay, that trigger you to carry out the work. Okay, and third will be methodology. All right, when you read, when you do literature review, you also want to find out, other people's methodology, how they carry out work, okay, and so on. So what are the outcome that they get when they do this approach, for example. So in terms of way, when you read so many other people or other researcher work, so you will know, you can decide, which will be the best approach for you to do to carry out your research work, in terms of to fulfill the objective that you have set for your work, for your study. Okay, hypothesis. Okay, basically you have a hypothesis. Normally you for example, that your first hypothesis would be, okay, case A will increase when the case B is added with material C, for example. Okay, so that is your hypothesis. Okay, it's like you predict already what gonna happen. So your research is to prove that will happen. Okay, so in terms of doing a literature, so you could justify your hypothesis. Is there anyone else has done something like similar that will lead to getting the same result as what you will get for your research work? Things like that. Okay, and next will be long-term interest. Okay, in terms of long-term interest, so basically when you read one academic paper to another academic paper, you will start to see how much people have done study on that particular topic. So you will also find out that, oh, this part is never been done yet. So you have, oh, okay, probably when I finish this work, I might have a time to do this work, and then I will be able to explore this part. That's purpose of literature review. You want to know how much people have done the work, and then it will open up opportunity for you to do things that other people didn't do yet. Okay, which is not being reported yet. Okay. All right. So next, basically, what will be the output? Okay, why you do your literature review is mainly to get a specific output, right? You want to get your literature review output. First, you want to make sure that when you do literature review, you want to have organized overview. Okay, that will be your first output that you want to get. Second will be a critical and evaluation perspective. Right. So by reading so many papers, so basically it will help you to have more critical and evaluate. You'll be able to evaluate a certain topic or a certain issue with more relevant input. Okay. Third, you will have a summarize, synthesis, and analyze argument. Okay, that's one of the third output. And then uncover similarities and differences within existing research. So you will see, when you read and all, you will uncover, you will try to avoid being similar with other people work that they have done before. So you don't want to kind of like copycat their work. You want to do other things. You want to find other things. You want to solve other issues. Okay, so you will see the line. Okay, this line is where what normally called as the gap. Okay, that's why when you see there's things that never been done yet, difference from your between your work and other people's work, that is where you're gonna highlight what will be the gap. All right. And lastly will be research question and hypothesis justified. So you might come across to question that you don't know the answer yet, or maybe other people also don't know the answer yet, because by reading multiple numbers of academic papers, you will come across to some kind of argument or some kind of question where they didn't find the answer yet, and also you also didn't know the answer yet. So that's why you are carrying out this research work. And then of course, once you know the question and all, you will also be able to justify your hypothesis. Is you will find out, is there any author or researcher out there that their work will have maybe not exactly the same work, but they get this result. So you predict that, oh, if you do like this, you also might get the same result. So your hypothesis at one point is being justified by this specific author, okay, or academic paper. Okay, so if say that you look into the summarize and synthesis, so you'll be able to come across this table, all right, where you're gonna have like an author, all right, year, okay, just to make sure that you have a similar year. And then you could have the memory, the aim or the objective of the paper, the method, sample, conclusions, and also remarks, comments and so on. So please aware that, so all this point, this value, okay, it really depends on what you have stated. Okay, it depends on what what you want to put as a title. Okay, it could be like you can put your parameter here, you could put like the experiment method, or sampling how many, so on. So it really depends. So what I'm showing here is just a general one. Okay. Okay, and next we have the gap. The identified gap is whereby research gap can be identified, which is missing and insufficient information, plus whether cannot provide definite conclusion to an issue. So that is what we call as the gap. So like I said before, it's something that you have the thing, and then you have a topic, issue, problems, okay, and then you have for example, like then you come up with a hypothesis, you cannot predict what you're gonna get, and then you do literature review, and then you synthesize, which is you have all the table that I've shown before, and you will find the gap, by looking at, okay, this person have done this person have done this. So, oh, there's one part that probably didn't been no one did it yet. Okay, so it's just something that will be identified as a gap. So it could be experts information, it could be data availability, it could be modeling limitation, maybe the model is being like that, and then probably you do like this, it's not being done like that, something like that. Scale problems, so maybe the scale is different, no one has been done in terms of this scale, only like this scale, lack of interaction, right? So all those things will come out, will conclude when you have a research gap, so you will have a solution, right? Okay, the solution of the gap is means the problem that not being solved, like what we highlight here, insufficient. So you don't have a definite conclusion to an issue, which is you'll be able to propose what will be the solution. The solution could be like new technology, it could be like advanced knowledge, it could also be monitoring, how to monitor, how to get, and so on, and also integration. So all this thing will be probably the solution to the problem that you have. Next, we're going to continue with next topic, which is process of LR. Okay, so how are we going to carry out our literature review? Okay, so the process of literature review, you can see, is divided into few things. First is you need to find what is your literature review topic that you want to do. Okay. Then second, you search for the literature review. Third, you analyze, what you have found in your literature review, and then you'll be able to write your literature review. So first, we're going to see the topic. Okay. The main thing is the topic first. Okay. Literature review topic. Okay. For literature review topic, what you will see is basically identify your research area. So at this point, you might have, one specific research area that you already know. A simple thing, probably, in terms of division. Okay, you know that, what we call that, what I'm saying, for example, your research is structure research or geotechnical research, it's a highway research, water, wastewater, construction management, things like that. So that is kind of like the main scope of your work. So basically, if you know that you are doing research in structure, so you don't waste time in terms of go to water papers or construction papers and so on. Okay, so then you will try to define, okay, your topic. For example, like you want to find what will be your subtopic. Okay, select topic what you want to search, narrow down your main topic to several subtopic for better elaboration. Okay, this is probably you have the main thing. For example, structure. So when talking about structure, will be so many things that you can say about structure. It could be the material, it could be the building, it could be bridges, and so many applications related to structure itself. So maybe if you are doing structure, you might want to differentiate between either you do structure or you do material, for example. Okay, that's one thing. And then probably if you focus on the material, there are so many construction materials that you're talking about. It could be steel, it could be what we call that, concrete, it could be timber, and then you focus one. So that is what we call the several subtopic. You wanna focus. What will be your main area that you want to focus? Okay, and then when you go for example, concrete. So what actually you want to find? What are your research about topic about concrete, for example? What about concrete that you want to search? Maybe you want to find the strength, or the what we call the properties, the permeability, the things like that. Okay, so then we have the subtopic. You probably want to talk about the concrete as a material, the strength of the material, the concrete, the testing of the concrete, and so on. Okay, then when you have a focus, a main focus, it's not too wide or too general, so it will be easier for you to write your literature review. Okay, and then focus on what you want. Focus on what you want to find with appropriate keyword. Okay, so you have to, if you, for example, you search, in the Google and so on. When you search, okay, later on we will go for the search. For example, like next topic will be search. Okay, where you search it out. So when you search it out, okay, if you your topic is very wide, then it can come up with so many other things. For example, you are using like Google, Yahoo, or any search engine that available. Okay, so you have to be specific. So for example, like this one, as you can see, right, what I wrote here, I use the word what you call that, beam strengthening, and then I also I do like a comma there. If you can see the comma. Okay, you can see, sorry, sure. You can see the comma that I wrote there, okay, whereby I want it to be about beam structure, beam strengthening, and I also want the material to be only concrete. Okay, so then you will find that there are so many, the title of your search will be very specific. So you have strengthening of reinforced concrete beam. See, the spelling also wrong here. Strengthening of concrete, but then you will find here strengthening concrete for shear with CFRP, so polymer and so on. So steel plate, and so many things. So this part, as a start, at least it's a good start where you want to focus your topic. But of course, this is still, we consider it very general, because talking about beam strengthening, there are so many ways in terms of strengthen the beam. So you need to also focus in which part that you are talking about, or which part that you want to do for your research work. Okay, another good search, if you want to be very specific in terms of finding papers and so on, you also could go to Google Scholar. Okay, Google Scholar means that you can type here like concrete. You do the same strengthening, but the difference is when you search here for Google Scholar, what will appear in the, I forgot to snap the appear results page. But when you search, what you will find is only academic papers. Compared to this, when you just search in terms of Google, but what you will find here is all gonna be random. It could be articles, it could be slides, it could be maybe like a report and so on. So it's not necessarily will be academic papers. Okay, but of course when you do literature review, it doesn't mean that you only gonna search for academic papers. Okay, you could also use input from other people thesis. Okay, if you want it to be thesis, then you can write here more comma, and then you can write here thesis. Okay, or if you want it to be PDF, or you want it to be in terms of PowerPoint, for example. So you can have a multiple comma to narrow down your search. Okay, and then you can this one I think most of you familiar with this, so shouldn't be any problem for you to search the right one. Okay, all right. So next, that's where you search for your literature review, academic papers, or any articles, relevant site, and so on. Okay, so beside that, using the beside using search engine, you could also go to what we call that online license database. Okay, we provide that with in our library. Okay, you have to what we call that click to this link in my slide. When you get this slide, you can just simply click and then it will direct you to the website, and then it's whereby you will have first, then you click this point, this red circle here, then it will bring you to this website. Okay, this website, which is, you will see there are multiple of digital collections. So but what you want is actually the online database, the online database here. Okay, so what is the online database is about? It's basically it's a database where you can find a relevant academic papers. So beside using Google Scholar, because the difference is Google Scholar will be very general. So some of the paper you can get free, and then you do not need to have a proper license to access the paper, or to get the paper, or to download the paper. But for online license database, for example, like Science Direct, Scopus, and etc., is you need to pay to get certain paper. Okay, so that's what UiTM, our university, has paid this database, all right, for the students to be able to use it and then search a relevant paper that related to what you want to find. But first thing that you have to do, of course, you have to log in. Okay, once you click at the previous slide, okay, the online digital, the database just now, you will directed to this website, to this address, whereby you have to log in. Okay, you have to log. If you have any problem with the login, you can just click here, need help. Okay, then there will be operator that gonna help you what is wrong, why you cannot log in and so on. By right, you as a student, you can use this. You can log in this using this database. So what is easy access? If say that you are in UiTM, so I'm sure that if you are in the UiTM, you do not need to access easy access. You can just simply go to the Science Direct website. Okay, and then you can simply get the paper that you want. But if you are outside, you are not using UiTM internet line, so basically you need to log into this system first, then you'll be able to get to this UiTM library e-resources. Okay, so with this e-resources, what you will be directed to this, where you have the alphabetical order here. So you will choose, you will select the, what is the name of the what we call the LR database you want to find. For example, like you click on the S, the S, then you will have like, okay, you have this list. So you have to aware that this online license database, it covers all type of database. For example, it's not only focused on our field, it's not only focused on civil engineering, but of course, it covers like medicine, pharmacies, mechanical, electrical, and so on. So you need to find what you need to use database that related to your work, to civil engineering, at least, to your research work. So what I highlight here is whereby first I will propose you a few related database that you can use, but of course you can also refer to your supervisor, probably have better license database that you can use as well, especially those who are doing like water, wastewater, geotechnical and so on. So you might have a specific database or journal that you might you can search. Okay, for example, you click on the Science Direct, so you will get this somehow, okay, the page, okay, whereby you can write the search, pre-reviewed journal, articles, book, chapters, open access. So you can write it here. Okay, for example, you want to write what just now, beam strengthening, for example, okay, and then you want to find a concrete, for example, okay, and so on. Okay, if you know the title of the journal, so you can write the journal title, name that you want to find, and so on. Okay, and then next will be Scopus. Okay, so Scopus, this is Scopus. Actually, if you look here, this is Science Direct, this is Scopus. You look, the symbol R2 is the same. It's actually from the same publisher, which is Elsevier. So the difference between Science Direct and Scopus is whatever being published or whatever you find in the Science Direct is normally a journal. Okay, it's a journal. All right. And it's a published journal. Okay, which is journal will have a certain rank, so it's a relevant journal, or we call that reliable, or it's a good journal. But Scopus, not saying that it's not good and so on. Okay, furthermore, you can search here. You write concrete, or you can write here common beam and so on, etc. So it's not but Scopus kind of like you can search any. It's not necessarily has to be a journal. Okay, it could be a proceeding, right? It could be conference paper, technical report, and so on. Okay, so normally you will find the open source, whatever being published, you can find it in the Scopus here. And then also next, you one what we call that? Allah. Sorry, SCART. Sorry, I missed that. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next will be Springer Link. All right, for Springer Link, you will see that it's also another database, different publishers. So means any journals that under Springer publisher. So you can search the journal here using Springer Link. It's also licensed. So use this privilege. UiTM paid so much for this database for their students, because not all what we call university has this access. Okay, so please use this privilege. And then I think I just want to share with you another relevant database that most of us might want to use. This is on also database, but this one is if you search under A, you will have this American Society of Civil Engineering Journal. So this is a very good database also. See, look, the access is only provided by UiTM. So ASE is very expensive, to pay for the license. So we have that. Not every university have the access for ASE, for you to know. So you can write the search here, okay, in terms of journal and so on. Regardless, because it has a very good list of journals. For example, journals structures has like a tree. Good journals, so papers in the journals. When you find a paper, because when you search, you can get so many type of paper related to what you search. But the question is, how good is the paper that you are refer? How reliable is the paper that you refer? So in terms of reliability, you have to make sure that it coming from the reliable source. The journal must be reliable. So by using all these, license database, it can ensure that your paper is a good paper, it's a reliable paper. So when you use a reliable paper, any input stated in the paper is a relevant one. Okay, is a relevant to your research work. Because if you just Google search, yeah, you can get certain paper, but you don't know the reliability of the paper. Is it good? The result can be trusted or not? The finding, the conclusion can be accepted or not, and so on. But if you get papers from this type of journal, the findings, the conclusion is all being approved by other scholars. Means before one paper be accepted to this particular journal, so it has, it will go through all the review process and so on. So the conclusion, the new knowledge that the paper wrote or discovered is already acknowledged by other scholars or other researchers as well. So it made the finding more reliable than other papers. Okay. All right. So next process will be writing. Okay. Oh, sorry, analyze. Sorry. So how to analyze? So once you already search multiple papers, you have so many papers that you have searched or you get, and then you related to your topic, of course. Then you want to analyze it. Okay, how you want to analyze? Okay, first, this is the paper that normally you will see. Okay, this paper I get it from Journal of Composite for Construction. It is EACE journal. As you can see, EACE, the American Society Civil Engineering Journal. Okay, as you can see, this paper is 2012 papers. Okay, so when you see one paper like this, what the first thing that you want to do, of course, you want to know either the paper is related to your study or not, if by reading the abstract. Okay, so I'm sorry, maybe you might see a bit blur, but I hope you can still read it here. Okay, so the majority of the study, for example, then here normally what you will find in the abstract is you will find what we call that the intro, the problems, okay, the research problems, and then you also gonna get what we call that the methodology. Okay, and then you will get kind of like the conclusion, yeah, or we call that the output of the study. For example, like the strengthened deal with column circular, however, most of column in the field have squares. So this is kind of like the main gap. Okay, a square resists the eccentric load. So this paper presents result experimental on the performance carbon fiber wrap on the square reinforced concrete column under eccentricity. Okay, all right. So here is whereby you will see, okay, this is the methodology, the specimen. Okay, and then one of the most important thing that you might want to find is the results of the study showed self-rapid related ductility of the concrete understand. Furthermore, the application significantly improved. So that's the most important word. Okay, so means by using this, if you are doing your research work, related to this type, what we call that, column, RC, strengthened with CFRP, under probably CFRP. So then this might be one paper that related to you, that you want, because it says that by using CFRP, the strength of the column is significantly improved. So this kind of paper that where you want to put aside. Okay, at first, you spend your time in search paper as many as possible, because first when you search, normally you will only look at the title and the abstract. You read the abstract first before you decide to save it into the folder or to your computer. All right, so once you look into the abstract and then you see, oh, this might be related to my study. Oh, this methodology is kind of the same with what I did, what I want to do. Oh, the material used is the same material. Oh, okay, the outcome of this work is actually what I predict that will happen to my work. Something like that. It's like hypothesis then, right? Okay, so when you discovered all that, so it's a keeper. Means that you have to download the paper and then you save it in your folder. Okay, so normally how I save the paper, I will save it using the title for easier for you to find back the paper in your computer. You know how messy is normally a computer will be, right, in our computer. So it's very difficult to find it back. So the most convenient way is by save it using the title. You just copy the title, then you paste it in the file name, okay, of the file name when you want to save as, right? Okay, so once you have decided, okay, this is a good paper, so it's related to my study. Okay, so then next you will start to look into the paper. All right, one by one, say that you want to look. So this is where you analyze. Okay, this is where you critically try to read, to judge the paper. Okay, and then of course you will have if you have the data and so on, you will find. Okay, so normally for a paper you have a few basic structures. It's common to have introduction part. Okay, for the introduction part is whereby you have normally it's a bit of background study. So this is a good thing already. So if this paper is really related, so the background of the study is where related to your study. So you might want to see the discussion of the work being done. All right, and then you also might want to highlight the previous author mentioned in the introduction part. So you want to go and find these papers. Especially when the statement, for example, this author, Tang et al., is mentioning about this review. Majority of the study, this one investigated column is MSc, mentioned by example of Tang et al. So if you are doing, related to your work, you might want to find his paper. Okay, and then read and then analyze it yourself, and then you can put it in your literature. Okay, and then the use of it and so on, and then all this will be a discussion. So here is basically when you do, you can see the structure of the introduction part is actually the structure of how this author is writing his literature review for his paper. Okay, all right, and what we call that? Okay. Okay, so with that, okay, and then you will also find that, okay, what are being done and so on. It depends on the paper, the structure of the paper. Sometimes you might also find, what we call that, the argument itself. For example, both of these studies, scale, column, constructed, the column itself has no internal. So this is all the gap and so on, the issues that being highlighted in this research paper. So you will find further, the objective, okay, what they want to do and so on. Okay. So next, normally it's very common to have experimental work. experimental work normally related to the methodology, how the author is carrying the work. So sometimes it will elaborately tell you how the design is being done and so on. So the what we call the schematic diagram of the specimens be written, the properties, okay, the parameters involved and so on. So all those things you want to know because you might want to relate with your study. Okay. All right. Okay. So here still you can see the specimen elaboration. So this, if you look into this, it can give you some kind of idea in terms of how you want to draw your methodology in your thesis, for example. Okay, how you want to have a setup for your thesis work and so on. So this could give you some ideas, when you read the paper one by one. So here, so that still in terms of methodology parts, as you can see. So next will be the results and analysis. If you look into the paper structure, it's actually related to, what we call that, to your thesis structure. Okay, so in one paper, you might have input in terms of related to your literature, related to your methodology, or also related to your what we call result analysis. Okay, so result analysis, you want to focus more to, if you are studying in terms of column, you want to see the failure modes. Okay, and then you will also see, you want to see how, okay, how is the failure. So this is where, if you have a subtopic, you have to write in your literature review explaining in terms of how the column is failed, how the column failure behave. So this is the input that you can get. For example, you are saying, who's the author for this paper just now? What do you call that? For example, Hadi. Okay, Hadi and Widyarsa, for example, okay, is saying, okay, is saying that the column, okay, the column specimen with the setup, you can explain the setup. Is designed to fail, and then the sudden loss of concrete cover, followed by the buckling outwards of the longitudinal reinforcement and the rupture of the ties. So that is what he discovered with his test setup. Okay, with his what we call that, a size, specimen size, and so on. So this is the failure that, after the testing, that he find out. Okay, so that could be put in your literature review in terms of describing, explaining how the column behave or how the column fail, and also the behavior and so on. So when you look into one paper, you will find that there are so many input that you could get. Okay, and then next, say that here. Okay, so you still remember, literature review. What is a literature review? Is whereby you do critical and also analytical, okay, judgment and so on. So analytical is whereby you will see the comparison of the results. For example, like, okay, let's take one example. It says like, okay, the axial and lateral displacement versus the applied load curve for column tested under 25 are shown in figure. So all columns fail in compression. So FRP occurred in all column before failure. So column this has 6.5% higher maximum load than the unwrapped column, for example. So this paper is focusing on this table, on this figure 9. So then it elaborately say that the column 1, which is 1HC25 here, had 6.5% higher maximum load than the unwrapped. So this is the unwrapped. So you have to identify. So you do the study. So the unwrapped is here. This is the unwrapped line. So this is the HC25 line. Okay. So with these two lines, so the increment is about 65, as mentioned by this paper. So what you can write in the what we call that in your literature review part, you would say Hadi and L, Hadi and the author, and say with the wrapping, with the 25 spacing of the column with CFRP, for example, the strength is increased, the maximum load increased 6.5% compared to the unwrapped load. So that is your analytical finding from this review paper. Okay, and then you will say that with CFRP it performed better than the unwrapped without CFRP. Okay, so that is one thing that examples that you can use in the paper itself. Okay, next we go to the you will find so many other input that you can find. So I didn't put the exact papers, because one paper normally have so many pages, right? So I just put here 4 pages. That is something that I just want to show you, to share with you. Okay, and then one of the important part that you want to see is also conclusion. All right, the conclusion part is where you want to see what is being concluded. So this conclusion is where you can write in your literature, saying that, oh, this author or Hadi have found that, Hadi 2012 have found that self-copy wrapping had more significant effect on the maximum load of concentrically loading compared to a concentrically loaded column. So this is basically the finding. Okay, so this is the finding that he found in his study. So you might want to use this, and then you have to rephrase with your own words, and then try to say that, oh, this Hadi 2012 has discovered this, and this. Okay, and furthermore, and beside the conclusion, in your references also, you can have, you can look at the title of your references. Okay, besides doing using the research engine, typing the keyword and so on, you could also use this. You know already the title of the paper or certain paper, that when the paper is so related with your study, and then you would know that the papers in the reference list will be relevant for your study as well. So you just copy the title, the whole title, and then you just Google, find the paper, and then look it through. Okay, you have so many paper here that you can use, and then you look into it, because some papers is something that related to what we call that theoretical fundamentals that you need to know about your study, especially old people. If you look into these references, okay, I would say paper like, for example, like this Richard 1928 paper. Okay, a study of the failure of concrete under combined compressive stresses. This is a very classic paper for structure division. Okay, especially related to concrete failure. Okay, confinement. So this person, because you look into the 1928, so where I said that most relevant, you have to find 5 to 10 years back your paper. You must have all that thing. But some of the paper are what we call that the main paper, what we call the fundamental paper that you must have or you must read to get the input. Okay, and then you can cite it, and then you can include in your literature review. Okay, so I hope by showing you the paper, it helps you clear. Okay, don't afraid in terms of reading the paper. I know sometimes the language could be quite challenging for you to understand, and things like that. But take it slowly, reading it line by line, try to understand. If you're still not clear in terms of certain things, go and meet your supervisor, or of course during this time you cannot meet, but at least you can just try copy paste and ask your supervisor, okay, what this thing is actually mean, the word, you can search the meaning of it, things like that. Because through the reading, it will help you writing better literature, and then it could help you in terms of understand your research work better. It's actually it's a very what we call interesting, by knowing or learn about other people. This is where you try to self-learning. You teach yourself okay, about the study, because no one is guiding you. The information is all over the place. You just need to make sure that you know what is the right information that related to your work or to your study. Okay, all right. So once you highlight all those things, you know, the methodology, the relevant output, the conclusion, you know, and so on. So basically, it's where you're gonna put it in this type of table. One of the table that I've shown before. Okay. All right. Why doesn't show? Okay. So here is whereby you have I hope you can still see. It's a bit lag there. Okay. Another way, the first way is the previous one where you can what we call the summary table that I showed before, where you have the author name and so on. So it also can be categorized by the treatment. Okay, and then you have what is the pollutants, advantages, disadvantages, and then the reference is being put this way. Okay, it depends on how you want to summarize your input. As long as the advantages, the disadvantages, all inputs that you get from the paper, you can highlight and then put it here. Okay, and then you can like, okay, so for example, like this paper highlight on terms of bacteria, biological. So what will be the advantage of it? So all this point is mentioned in this guy paper. Okay, this author paper. All right, so when you do your writing, your literature review, you might want to quote this paper, cite this paper, and then by mentioning all the advantages and the disadvantages related to your subtopic. Okay. And then, for example, like this one as well. Okay, like what I did here is whereby you have the paper. There's no rule for how you want to summarize your work. It depends. The most important thing is you must understand. Okay, like this table, I do it in Excel. All right, it doesn't, well, it's quite tedious, but because of spreadsheet is, you know, you can open it bigger compared to Word, so it make the table, working with table much easier for me. All right, maybe not for everyone, but for me. So it depends on what you want or what you like. Okay, so for example, like, okay, you have the year, the author, publication, numbers, you know, highlight. So you have the properties, okay, for each papers, and then yeah, it's quite detailed here. And then you have a parameter. Parameter is where you want to know for the strength, what will happen to the strength with that parameter, what happened to the strain or ductility for that particular paper, okay, and the performance or the specimen for the paper. So all that is being highlighted here, because when you do it very detailed like this, it will help you in terms of writing. For example, you want to have one subtopic or one paragraph written about strength only. So you have the input about this input. Okay, maybe this author is saying this about the strength, this author is writing this about the strength, this third author writing this about the strength. So you can combine. You can say, okay, these three author, you find the similarity. Okay, this author is writing about this similar finding about strength. The difference will be what? Maybe you can look, okay, this one, this percent, 10%, this one will be like 15% or something like that. Okay, you'll be able to see it when you put it in one table. Okay, one thing I like about doing it in the Excel is because you can hide the column, because sometimes you do not need to see all column. Parameter you might not need. So you want to see only certain things that what you want to know is the author, which author that related, so that it's easier for you to do the writing. But it still depends. Okay, it depends. All right. So yeah, that's where you can use the analysis, where you analyze your literature. So synthesis tables and summary table can be used, but of course you have to make sure your reference at least 5 years back, 5 to 10 years is acceptable. The latest is better. At least you must have at least 1 or 3 papers, latest one, at least last year papers. Unless it's a for fundamental reference paper like we see before, 1928, or I was not born during that time. 1928 is very long time ago. So this is something that fundamental that you sometimes you must include in your work to make sure to look, to make sure that your work look, having a strong fundamental input. Okay. So then come to the next point, whereby once you have a table of multiple papers that you have read, you have summarized and so on. So it's easier for you to write your literature. So writing a literature is, you have to make sure that you use appropriate tenses. Okay, your tense means present tense, past tense, past participle and so on. Avoid long sentences. You please aware, right? You don't assume that when you use all these bombastic word, all the jargon word and so on, it will look great. Sometimes when you use it without knowing how to use it properly, it will make your writing hard to be it's difficult to be understood. People read it, they don't understand what you're trying to say. So try to make it clear and easy to understand. It doesn't matter using a simple word and so on, as long as it's clear and it's correct, the tenses, the grammar is correct and easy to understand. All right. How to learn to write properly? You can replicate how other researchers write certain argument, but you don't plagiarize. Okay. So there are so many ways that you can improve. The more you write, the more you will learn better way how to write it properly. Okay. For example, like for one, you're talking about one subtopic. One subtopic. You have like topic chapter 2.1, and then you might have 2.11. Okay, 2.11, what would be the subtopic that you want to elaborate in your literature review? So in that topic, you will have the paragraph of introduction of that particular subtopic. So introduction, where you highlight what would be the research area problem, the importance, and then you probably elaborate how you actually writing the topic. And then you have the main body. So the main body could be multiple paragraph. Depends on what you want to, elaborate. Okay, maybe first paragraph, the second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph. Second paragraph, first paragraph will be introduction. Second, third, and fourth could be your main body. So you will have like, the first will be, the second paragraph will be on the purpose only. All right, and then maybe third paragraph will be on the theories, the fundamental knowledge. Fourth paragraph would be probably the methods available for that particular subtopic that you elaborate, the findings, the problem, and so on. Okay. And lastly will be the last paragraph will be normally the conclusion that you want to conclude. You summarize what will be the finding related to the subtopic that you discuss. And then you can conclude your main body argument, which justify the objective of your work. You try to relate with why you are writing the subtopic, okay, and then relate it with your research work. Why are you explaining about the subtopic? What things that related to it? So you kind of like discuss it back, okay, and then you write. So in terms of writing, you can use academic phrase bank to help your writing. I prepare you the link here. You can just click to the link, and then it will bring you to this site. This is by Manchester, University of Manchester, academic, very popular, reliable source. So it could help you in terms of like for example, establish the importance of the topic for the world or society. X is fundamental to Y. X play critical role of the maintenance. Y, essential for a wide range of technologies. You can kind of like use this phrase and then blend it with your own topic, of course. Okay. And then you could also have, because when you go click the link, you have this part where you click. You want to write introduction part. You want to write referring to the source. You want to describe methodology normally. You want to report result. You want to discuss finding. You want to write conclusion. So it really depends. For example, like here I highlight discussing findings. For example, providing background information, literature. So you look here is whereby several reports have shown that blah 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 blah. You describe your own. You put it your input. Okay, but you can use, as mentioned in the literature review, prior study that have noted importance of blah blah blah. You can use the sentence. Okay, and then it has more. Okay, this one, for example, writing a conclusion, restating the aims of the study. For example, this study is set out. This is where you write your conclusion. So this could help you summarizing main research finding, and so on. So this could help you in terms of writing a good, what we call that, literature review. Okay, if you struggle in terms of writing, because I'm sure, not all have the, what we call that, a good writing skill. Okay, some people have, some people not, some people good at speaking, that not so much in writing. Some people good in writing, but not, so it depends. But of course, when you are not good, it doesn't mean that you cannot do. You can do, but you just need practice, and then you just need, like, try to do it over and over again. Keep on writing so that you can improve your writing. Okay, all right. So that's all about process of literature review. Okay, next we're going to continue with organization of literature review. So organization of literature review is whereby different theoretical approaches, all right, this is how you can organize your literature review. Second, you could organize by, mentioning the specific concept or issues. You could also organize by different methodologies employed. You could also organize it by level of justification to the hypothesis. So it really depends. You can discuss with supervisor how you want to organize your literature review. 2.1, 2.0 is the literature review. Okay, so 2.1, I write here. Oops. Okay, 2.1, for example, you say like reinforced concrete column. For example. So 2.2, I want to find like the theoretical approach. So first I want to talk about what is the failure, for example, okay. So then in terms of failure, so you talk about the introduction like we discussed, the main body, and then you conclude about the failure, for example. Then you have like maybe under the failure, you elaborate it some more. You have 2.21, okay, or here you have 2.11, okay, you write what is the subtopic. So all this subtopic is where you can arrange it using it is a different theoretical, concept, methodology, and so on. Okay, so this hierarchy is where you can discuss it with your what we call that, with your supervisor, of course. So another example you can have is by, I cannot erase it. Okay, so you can have like examples, concrete strengthening, for example. You have background, concrete strengthening method in practice, or critiques and components of concrete. So here it say that if I doing 2.0 as my LR, so here 2.1, here could be my 2.2, here could be my 2.3. Okay, so then 2.1 you have like 2.11. Okay, the background of your concrete strengthening. So background will be like, maybe I would like to say, okay, what we call the introduction. Okay, or I could also say the, what we call that, if say that 2.21, okay, methods. So maybe there are so many methods. So you have like maybe what we call concrete enlargement method, steel plate method, confinement method, and so on. Okay, so you could have 2.3, 2.2.1, 2.2.2.2, 2.2.2.3, and so on. Okay, all right, that's about it. Okay, so that's organization of literature review. So next will be literature review tools, or Mendeley. So for the Mendeley, all right, so basically, just want to highlight, Mendeley is not the only tools that you can use. There are so many other tools. You can just Google literature review tools. So there are so many ways in terms of how you want to organize your literature, because you're going to have a pile of your papers. So these papers, it will be easier for you if you have a proper literature review tool. So what we suggest for you to use is Mendeley, what we call Mendeley. So how to you have to download this Mendeley. It can be downloaded directly to your computer, to your laptop. you press this link, okay, this link, right? It will direct you to this website. You can see these features, and then you create, you know, free account. All right, because everything will be in cloud. So whatever file that you put in, you save, it will be in cloud, in the cloud. So then when you can uninstall in your laptop or install it somewhere else, you know, different laptop, different desktop, and so on, it's still gonna have the same what we call library or same content. Okay. Then you will have what we call that, these features. Once you download it, you sign in, you download, and so on. So you have these features, you can open it. All right, I'm sure that everyone familiar with download you know, software and so on. Okay, so for example, you will see that this is where the folders, okay, okay, so the folders is where you create this one, this part, and also this part. This is the main folder, this is the subfolder. So you can just create the folder lah. All right, you can explore here. You see this button, this is create. You click this, you create the folder. So and then you can add the files lah. You have files. This is all files of papers been added to the Mendeley system. Okay. All right. So how to import? First, your document to your Mendeley. First, you have to sign in. Right, you have to, if you don't have the account, you have to sign up, of course. Then you can sign in, you have your password and so on. Download journal from any sources. You can download, save it into your computer, and then you create specific folder name in your Mendeley. It's easier for you to have a proper folder to it. It depends which way that you want. If you don't like folder, then it doesn't matter, but it's better to have a folder so that it's easier for you to find it later on. Drag the paper to the specific location. So, or add a file to the specific location. Okay, so here if you look, you can add the paper by using this button. You add the paper or the whole folder. Alright, that's one way. And through the Mendeley also, it can be used to read papers, because once you click this paper, for example, you click this paper, for example, you just click the paper and then it will come out directly like this. The paper will come out in terms of PDF form. So here you have all the details. So the details you have to be careful. Mostly Mendeley will what we call, we insert it automatically based on the paper that you uploaded. But of course you have to recheck it back, especially like the year, the title must be right, correct, the journal, the pages and so on. You have to check back with your paper just to ensure that you key in the right one, the right input for the paper. Even though it's automatically, sometimes automatically it has, you know, some flaws. It's not correct. Find quick keyword quickly in your database. So once you have all papers file, okay, say easier, say that you want to find certain paper. For example, you want to find first order. This is the word that you know, the slide want to find. So it will highlight which paper that have the word first order, first order, first order. Okay, what's the use of this? For example, say that you want to describe, you want to write literature review subtopic about mainly is about what we call that, concrete column ductility, for example. So you want to focus on ductility. So you can write here ductility. When you write here ductility, paper that mention ductility, which you know that paper will related to what you want to know or what you want to write in your subtopic. So it will come out here. So you just can click and then see and then read the paper in the Mendeley. It will be easier. Alright. So for you to sort which paper that have a certain keyword. Okay. Alright. Okay, this is fine. Alright. So find quick keyword quickly in selected paper. So before this, we're talking about a pile of paper. All right, now we want to find a specific paper. So means you already click on that paper, and then it will come out in PDF. Okay, and then you can read. So when you read, you want to find a certain word. You want to know which paragraph it is or where the author mentioned about this thing. So you can just simply type it back, and then it will search in that particular paper. It will come out like this. Okay, so yeah, it's easy. Okay, all right, it's the same. And one thing that you must do whenever you already download your Mendeley is to install the MS Word plugin. So why you need the MS Word plugin? If for you to do the citation. So instead of type in manually your citation, you can use the MS Word plugin so that it will automatically link to your Mendeley. Okay. So how to do it is by you go to the tools, and then you click at install MS Word plugin. Okay. So this way, when you do that, okay, and then you will have the instruction. Okay, either the installation was successful or not. So you just follow step by step on how to do it. Okay, after you click that, then in your Word, under the reference ribbon, this reference ribbon, you will see the portion of Mendeley Cite-O-Matic like this. Okay, it proves that your Word is already collaborate. Okay, collaborate with Mendeley. Okay. Right, and so when you open your Word, this is MS Word 2013 figure. So this is before install. You see, we don't see the thing in the reference. So here you will see the thing in the reference. Okay, after installation. Okay, and how to insert citation in your MS Word using Mendeley. So in MS Word, choose references, click insert citation. Alright, so you just go to the references, you click insert citation. So whenever you click the insert citation, this thing will pop up. Okay, what is this thing? This thing is actually you try to find, for example, you want to write the bacteria utilize the pollutants as a source of food. Okay, all right. Let me just erase this one first. It's kind of confusing. Saying I don't know why it doesn't want to erase. It's okay. All right. So you want to highlight. Okay, you want to highlight who says this one. So what you do is you insert citation, you click here, insert citation. Then once you click the insert citation, then this one will come out. Okay. This one will come out, the search, and then you type in the author name. You can type in the author name, or you can also type in what we call that author name, or you can type in the what we call the title, paper, and so on. Okay, then a list of the paper it will come out, and then you can choose which paper that you want to put here inside here. Okay, in this writing, in this literature writing. Okay, so you just cite. So for example, if say that you want what we call that you want to cite from Mendeley, you just click the button cite, this button. Okay. So citation will appear automatically like this. Okay, in the word, in Word. Okay, so then you can add more citation, need to edit manually, semicolon bracket, give permission for manual editing. So say that you want to change, for example, like the citation is too long like this, and then you want like you want to add more, and then do you want to keep this manual edit or revert to formatted version? So you just click keep manual edit, so that it will keep whatever that you manually edit the how the citation is written. Okay, all right. One thing you have to ensure, one thing I want to highlight here is the best practice for the writing authors is not to write too many authors like this. You have 1, 2, 3 authors, 4. Okay, in one paper sometimes you might have more than 3 authors, might have 5, 6 authors in one paper. Means the author, you have 5, 6 authors. So but then in writing you do not need to write all names. Okay, especially when it is more than 3. Okay, what you do is normally you will write only like Kiyohara et al. Like this. Okay, like 1982. Okay, so this is how you write. You don't write all names like this. But what will appear using manually is all names. So that's why you have to manually edit it, turn it become this, and then when you go and then it says keep manual edit, then you say keep manual edit. The same thing with this. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 authors. Okay, so you just want to keep like D, Ziel, et al. And 1996. Okay, all right. So if say that you can keep the name if it's only 3 authors. For example, it has only 3 authors: Diesel, Beckwith, and Villamore. So you have Diesel, comma, Beckwith, and you don't write like that, and Villamore. 1996. Or you could have only 2, Diesel and Villamore. 1996. Okay, I hope you understand, clear about that. Yeah, so please don't keep all the 5 authors name. Okay, make it 3 maximum. If it has more than 3, then you use the et al. Okay, so how to insert bibliography? So one advantage when you use MS Word plugin, with Mendeley, you can simply write your references. Your bibliography of your references, list of references will be automatically generated without you typing, okay, number 1 paper, what paper it is, number 2, number 3, and so on. So it will be automatically list out whatever every paper that you use for your literature review. Okay, for example, like this, you just go to the reference and then you click to the insert by bibliography. So once you click the insert bibliography, it will come out like this. Okay, it will come out like this. It depends on what we call that. It depends on what type of format or references type that you are using. So if you are using like this, then it will come out like this. If not, there are one way where you have to write 1, and then you have the name Diesel or something like that, blah 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 blah. It depends on because there are options here, the style that you can alter, you can use, you can change. Okay, so for us, we use APA system, American Psychology References lah. Okay, So that's what we use. And then but of course, when it's automatically generated, you have to also be careful. You know, you have to be careful. There are things that you have to manually delete. So need to delete manually, for example, this part retrieve from, okay, you can delete, you have to delete. Page number incomplete, need to amend in the Mendeley. So the page number is not complete like this, then you have to look, go to the Mendeley and then edit your what we call that, the information about the paper. Okay, and journal detail not complete, need to check manually. So there are also journal that is not complete, don't have the paper page and so on, so then you have to edit it manually, or you go to the Mendeley and then you update the details of the paper. Okay, all right. Okay, caution, title, page number and author's name must be correct. So here is where you can check, make sure you get your author's name right, you know, your year, the pages is right, the journal name is right, you know, all those things. So it will help you when you got it right. Then when you generate your bibliography or your list of references, so then you will get the right input. Okay, and last but not least is a citation and references. For citation and references, you will have citation format. As I say, we are using APA 6th edition. All right, this is the way how it's being written. As I said, I hopefully can avoid writing too long the author's name. Okay, how many journal you refer? Second time cite the same journal. Okay, hydrogen was used and so on. Citation in the middle of the text. If you are writing it, you know, you just want to say this, you want to highlight that. You want to highlight that this one is being told by this person and this person. Means there are two papers mentioning that. You can write it like this. Okay, then you can write it like this. But if you want to mention it in the sentence, for example, in the study conducted by this researcher, so then you can write it like this. Okay. Now this is how you write it in et al. Oh, okay. So in this, for this guideline, it says that when the first time, so maybe I got it wrong. The first time you can write the whole name like this, the whole author's name. But when you cite the same journal for the second time, then you use the et al. Okay, that's the way. Citation and references, references format. So author name of the journal, title of the journal, publisher of the journal, journal and page number. So that's the references format. So you have to make sure that you got it right lah. The title of the journal, publisher, journal volume and page number. So if your reference is a book or as a thesis, then you write the author's name of the book and the year, the title of the book of the thesis, publisher or which universities, and the edition of the book if there is an edition of the book. Okay, so yeah, I think that's all, right? We spent like more or less about 1.5 hours for this slide. I hope you guys clear about things that I try to explain. Okay, yeah, of course, there's a little bit what we call that drawback, you know, when you are doing online learning like this, but I'm sure you know, by going it through one by one, you can repeat the slide, you know, and then rewatch it again to make sure you clear. If you are not clear, you pause and then you do things clear and then you think it and then you can play it back and so on. So hopefully it can help in terms of your writing and, you know, especially in terms of preparing a good strong literature review for your study. Okay, I think with that I wish you all the best for your FYP1. So the keyword is always keep on writing. First draft, you might have first draft, second draft, third draft, numbers of draft. there's always gonna be like, imperfections, but through time I'm sure you'll be able to get it perfect to what your supervisor need. But more, the one thing that you also have to bear in mind, always refer to your supervisor. Always discuss back with your supervisor in terms of writing. This might be your first time writing thesis, so of course there are so many things that you need to learn. So the best person to learn and guide you through is your own supervisor. Okay, so and again, I repeat, if you have any question that you're still not clear about how to write literature review and so on, please don't hesitate to call me, WhatsApp me through the number given in the slide. Okay, and then you can always ask me directly, and then I will try my best to answer all your questions on all your queries. Okay, so I think that's all from me. With that, I end my lecture with Tasbiki for us. Okay, with that, thank you very much. And yeah, I leave you with some quotation for you to ponder. Okay, and yeah, thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.